All right, so this is going to be pretty quick. I just wanted to cover something, and this is the description of Jesus Christ. And I feel like people use this to really kind of fit their narrative, especially so-called black people and the Hebrew Israelite group. They use this scripture a lot, which is Revelation 1, verse 14, 15. And it talks about Jesus having hair that was white. Jesus having hair that was white and feet that are bronze and eyes that are red like flames. Those are all symbolic, guys, because you have to remember that when John is talking about Jesus in these verses, he's talking about he's having a vision. Okay, so he's seeing Jesus in heavenly form. So all the things that they're talking about when he's explaining what he's seeing, these are symbolic things. Now I can see if he was talking about Jesus in the flesh, in the physical, like maybe when he was baptizing Jesus, and he said, "Hey, Jesus looks like this," but this isn't that. He's talking about Jesus in his final heavenly form, in his glorious form. And I'm going to read these scriptures. So this is Revelations chapter 1, verse 14. And it says, his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. You see, that's the first one. And it says his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. So it's not saying that his hair is like wool or woolly, because the Hebrew Israelites use that too, and they say, "Oh, well, our hair, black people's hair is woolly," but it's not describing texture; it's describing color. Let's read it again. It says his head and his hairs were white like wool is white, as white as snow is white. Right? So that describes all color. There's no texture in there. And not only that, it says his head too. So his head and his hairs are white. Symbolic as in that's symbolic of, I believe that's symbolic of the wisdom, because they say, when your hair turns white, you get the grays that comes with wisdom and knowledge. That's symbolic of Jesus' knowledge. And then it says, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. And, Jesus' eyes were not flames of fire. They weren't literal flames, but, Jesus was the light in the darkness. He was all knowing, all seeing. So that's symbology right there. And they never say nothing about that, because we've never seen a black person or anybody with eyes of flames or red eyes. Some Bibles say red eyes. And then it says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace. And there's been people that argued this, and I'm not 100% sure about the brass feet. When they seen it when he's seen that in his heavenly form, but when you burn brass, it gives off this white heat, this white light, and basically, some believe it's like Jesus' purity, how pure he was, and his pureness. And the next one says, "In his voice as the sound of many waters." We know that the water is strong. Currencies are strong. They're powerful. They can kill you. And water is also, at the same time, soothing. People go to sleep to the sound of the ocean. So we have the waters that are very powerful and can kill you. And then we also have, but it's also soothing. Something that can kill you, people go to sleep to it. That's Jesus' voice. He can do both. And he will do both. It's soothing and it'll kill you. He has wrath. God is not all loving. He has. So I want to jump to Isaiah 53 verse 2, because there's not a lot of, like I was saying, there's not a lot of scriptures in the Bible that describe Jesus' physical attributes. And God did that on purpose. He didn't want to tell exactly what skin color Jesus was, or what ethnicity he was, or what color his eyes was, how tall he was. Because people, you see, every race has their own version of Jesus. So he purposely didn't put that in the Bible for a reason. And then Isaiah 53 verse 2 says this: hold on, my bad. "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, as a root out of dry ground. He hath no form, no comeliness, And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we shall desire him. So that's saying that Jesus wasn't like a supermodel. He wasn't desired by, women. He wasn't this fine dude. Like, he wasn't no super standout, beautiful man. He was just an ordinary man. Could you imagine if, Jesus was this supermodel dude? Could you imagine how much more tough it would have been for him to, you know, uh, accomplish his mission if he was fancied, if his exterior was fancied by all these beautiful women, he was just physically attractive like that to all these women? It would have been a lot more tough on him. So God made Jesus just an ordinary guy. He's an average Joe, as far as looks goes. So there's no scriptures in the Bible besides the two I just read that describe Jesus in detail. This is probably the best you're gonna get, unless there's something I don't know about. But the Bible purposely did not describe Jesus. He purposely didn't do that because he knows there's people out there like the Hebrew Israelites, there's people out there like the KKK who would try to use color for their own narrative. He kept his color, which I'm guessing he probably was a brown man. He's from Israel, right? So we can guess we can assume he's probably a brown man. But that doesn't even matter. That's not the point. The point is what he did for you. So I just wanted to share that, and that's it.